Hi, Marianne Croce here from Small Biz Vantage and the creator of 3 Day Weekend System and Coaching. And I am so glad to be here each and every week to do these lives with you. I do them for a couple of reasons. One of them is for you to be able to shift your perspective or your vantage, if you will, of your business and really turn that into your competitive edge. And the second reason is for you to take one action item away each week and try it out and see how it works for you. Implement. That's how we really get things done is by actually implementing. Doesn't take these huge major shifts, these huge major changes, really takes small shifts in our day-to-day business, causing a ripple effect and can really help us grow personally and professionally. So I used to get asked one question all the time. Now I get asked two. The first one is, Marianne, who do you work with? And I primarily am working with right now single location automotive shop owners who really find that they're stuck. They've reached milestones in their business. Some things are working really well, but they want to have a life and they don't want their business to consume them. So that's where I come in and help them rid themselves of owner overload. The second thing question that I get asked all the time is, what is 3 Day Weekend System? What is that? And really what it is it helps you with that owner overload. It's actually a framework that I created, a system, and it actually helps you do less and get more done. Because a lot of times when people are working with a system, a framework, a coach, they're thinking it's going to be a lot more that I have to add to my already busy day. What this actually does is take things away because the enemy of success and getting things done is actually adding more to your day. So that's what that does. So today's topic is mentoring is for everyone. And this is really interesting how these things happen. I have to say that it's really funny for me. It's ironic. These aha moments that I have, they happen to me when I am doing ordinary things. And I'm sure you'll find that they happen to you as well, the same way. This past weekend, I was going through some old photos. My kids were over and they were asking me for certain photos. So I started digging out some old photos. And these photos were the kind that you actually hold in your hand. This wasn't, on a cell phone or anything like that. I had bags of them from when my kids were young. We actually used to print photos out. And this one photo in particular of my son, oh my gosh, it instantly took me back because every photo has a story. And this one really got me thinking about mentors. So when we mentor, it happens all the time. We're being a mentor, we're mentoring someone else, right? Or we're the mentee, we're getting mentored. And it's funny how this happens. So, the first thing I want to break down here is when it comes to mentoring children. While I was making dinner, my preschool age son was playing with the Legos, the large Legos. And he asked me for help. He wanted to put two towers that he had built together. And of course, he wasn't tall enough to do this. So after helping him, I took a photo of us and the tower, and we both laughed because it was very tall. And I can imagine, him being a young child, how tall it looked to him. Little did I know what that photo would end up representing. So here's what happened. A few weeks later, he was starting preschool and he was reluctant to go. And at first, I kind of brushed it off saying, oh, that happens to everyone when we start new things. We're all a little bit nervous. We're a little bit scared. That happens. But once you get going, you'll be fine. Once you get used to it, you're going to really be fine. Then I asked him why he didn't want to go. I said, Why don't you want to go to school? And he said to me that he would miss me. A typical preschooler response, right? Changing his day, not being around the people that he's used to being around, his loved ones. So I told him that I have just the thing that he needs. I showed him the photo of us together with the tower. And I said, if you miss me, this will be in your backpack. All you need to do is look at it and remember that we will tell each other what we did that day when you come home. You'll tell me about your day and I'll tell you about mine. And he lit up. That was all he needed to hear. The reality is, I don't think he ever needed the photo. Just knowing that it was there was enough. So that's an example of how we mentor children because we have that experience. We have that knowledge already of being fearful of trying something new. And we know that. So we've gone through that fear and we can help them take control of it. So I want to share with you another example of mentoring your boss. So I had a few managers in my day that didn't have good people skills. I mean, that's like putting it mildly, but let's just say they didn't have good people skills. They were really laser focused on the activities and the outcomes that they were responsible for, but they forgot about the people they needed to help them get there. They needed they needed the people to get the job done. Now, I just want you to keep in mind that that's what managing is. Managing is focusing on the activities and the outcomes. And it's not uncommon for managers to not have strong people skills, but yet it's something that's really needed. So, one district manager at a hair salon that I had been working at was really rough. That day, I had asked my boss if she if it was okay, if she would let me stay a little bit longer since we were, like, really swamped with back to school haircuts. I mean, the waiting room was just filled with kids and their moms or their dads, and she really appreciated my offer. So, after the hour went by, I was clocking out when the district manager walked into the store. She visited regularly. I hadn't happened to meet her, anytime she was there, but she was walking in. She didn't say hello. She didn't introduce herself to me. Again, we've never met, but she watched me clock out and she assumed that I was clocking in an hour later. That's what she that's what she assumed, that I was an hour late. And she made a rude comment in front of the staff that was there and the customers and their children that were all waiting there. It was a mentoring moment. So I ignored her comment because it was rude. And I put my hand out to her and I said, "You must be Sarah. I've heard a lot about you. I'm Marianne. Actually, I offered to stay for an hour to help out. As you could see," and I kinda pointed to the area, with the waiting area. "As you could see, we're very busy. It was a pleasure meeting you. Have a nice day." And then I left. I showed her an example of professionalism in the moment when she was not being professional, but I did it with kindness. I didn't treat her the same way that she treated me. She was curt, she was rude, she was very unprofessional. She was a district manager. She was representing that company and she did it very, very poorly. Now, if I had reacted to that as she did and started defending myself with a tone, everyone in the store, in the salon that were working there, or the people that were waiting in the waiting area would have seen two people kind of just going at it, very negatively going back and forth. But that's not what they saw. They saw something very different. And I was kind to her. And it was a mentoring moment. Now, the next example I want to talk about is mentoring your team. And I can say that over the last 24 years, I have learned a lot about having a team. Even though times change, here's something that I know to be true. People always want to be valued and appreciated. This was 25 years ago, it was 50 years ago, and it's still today. I've seen it show up differently in the last 40 years. It shows up in all kinds of different ways over these last 40 years. But it's your job to mentor your team. As an owner, as a leader, it is your job to mentor them, not to boss them around. I know that many businesses were like that. That's the way they operated. You may have grown up or went through the industry with that type of environment. But here's the thing, people never had respected. They've never respected that type of leadership. Not even 25 years ago, they didn't. But today, here's the difference. They won't tolerate it. Years ago, people did. People stayed at jobs with really bad bosses, bad owners, bad managers, bad leaders. They did. They stayed for years. But today, they will not. They will not tolerate it. So, relationships. These are the three things that I want you to remember. They're really important when it comes to mentoring your team. Number one is relationships. Build and nurture relationships with your team. Get to know what is important to them. Don't assume. Find out what motivates them. Don't bring people in that you have to motivate. No, it's a losing battle. You want people that are already pumped up and motivated. They have things, they have hopes, they have dreams, they have goals, and they are already motivated. What goals are they working towards? And then find a way to connect them with the work that they do. That's where the magic happens. So, relationships is number one. Number two is share. Many owners don't do this. They just overlook it. They think it might be time that's wasted. But here's the thing, make sure they know why you're doing what you're doing. Share your expectations with them, your core values, and goals. Goals for the business, goals for them. Share them, goals for the future. Show them examples of being a top shop and let them know that everyone benefits from working at a top shop. So show them an example of that. Be that type of owner, be that type of leader that is an example of your core values. Show up, do the things that you talk about, be consistent. So, number two is share. And number three is collaboration. Ask your team how to make business better. You want to be a top shop. You want to have those high performers. You want to have those people that are the achievers. Then you know what? You've invested in them. Really, they are an asset to you. You want to make your business better and collaborate with them for customers, for them, and for the community. Flush out ideas together and adjust or refine them as needed. Get them involved. Really important to do that. I personally am very, very grateful for my team. Even the people who no longer work for us, it's really important because they've all taught me how to become a better leader. Have I made mistakes? You bet I have. But I learn and I improve. What I did learn to do was improve my interviewing, communication, and people skills over the years. And I actually went out and sought a coach for that. I seek training on that. And it really worked. Sometimes what people say is not what they mean. You have to dig a little bit deeper. Every team member has taught me something to make me a better owner, a better leader. We've all been mentored and we've had mentors. We've mentored others as well. Many of my best mentors didn't know the impact that they made on me. They have no idea years later what their experience, what their mentoring, their sharing, they have no idea how it affected me years later, what it's done for me. My goal is to pay it forward and to help others gain the confidence to do and give their best each and every day. So I'd like to share with you a pro thinking tip. When it comes to mentoring, it's important to give helpful feedback and talk about your own experiences, the lessons that you learn, maybe mistakes that you've made. Make sure to inspire them to take charge of their own growth. It's really important to do that and be there to support them when they need it. Building a strong mentor mentee relationship can really lead to long term successes and benefits for the both of you. Really important to have people own their success, take responsibility for it. That's it for this week's Business Leadership in 15 Minutes. If you find this helpful, please share it with another business owner that you know. We can all learn something from each other. Have an enjoyable week.